We're in Monte Carlo for the Rendez-Vous de Septembre. For Invest TV, I'm Richard Banks. And I'm joined now by Dan Burrows, CEO of Fidelis Insurance Group. Dan, welcome.
Well, thank you. Thanks, Richard, for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
Well,
Another sunny Monte Carlo.
Oh, well, we're blessed with that. It's not always like that. Dan, unusually there seems to be some divergence of opinion as to where we are in the reinsurance cycle. What's your interpretation? And more importantly, what happens next?
That's a really great question. I think it's really how we've seen it play out over the last 3 or 4 years. There is a verticalization in the market. I think when we look at the overall picture, being able to give terms, build structures, see risks before others as a leader, and we lead the majority of the classes that we're in. We leverage our line size, we're able to cross-sell products. So that puts you in a much stronger position than someone that's really just following the market. Yeah, I think there is definitely a divergence, but that played out through the harder part of the cycle. As a market maker, we took advantage of the best terms, and I think we're still doing that. We see more challenge, we see more competition, certainly, but we also see a lot of opportunity across, the 100+ product lines that we underwrite in our portfolio.
So tell us about some of those opportunities. You've grown your top line in the first half of the year. Tell us about the opportunities that you see as the market changes.
Yeah, broadly, it's been across most of the portfolio. I think there are some standouts, which I'll go on to, but we've grown 9% through the first half of the year with discipline. We're not going to try and be all things to all people, but where we see opportunity as a leader with a big line size and leverage, we'll take the opportunity. And I think Richard and the team and the other clients that we work with can all demonstrate that. I think specifically areas like asset-backed finance, that's been strong for us. We've been able to grow that book significantly in the last couple of years. As a specialty business, insurance business, over 80% of our portfolio is in that space. We still see business on the property side coming out of the admitted market. Again, and being first port of call is very important when you see that business. So broadly, I think we see opportunity, but you have to be disciplined. You have to leverage this cross-class ability that we have, and many others don't. And that really drives home an advantage, either way in the market, be it at the top of the mountain or perhaps just below that. We're seeing opportunity and we're executing.
So as you say, being a leader means, I guess, that you have to take a prominent role in that discipline. How confident are you in other people's ability to stick with you in that?
I think, unfortunately, the market has been lacking in certain areas in terms of leadership for a number of years. And the people that we're working with, Richard, his team, they've demonstrated that for 4 decades. We can demonstrate through our performance, our track record, 2017 to 24, is kind of in the mid-80s, 86, 87%. We've outperformed the market. And I think that shows investors, the world, the community that we operate within, that we're able to demonstrate that leadership and actually the differentiation in performance that brings to the table. So very important to be able to provide service, to be relevant to your broker, to your client, but that's not just one class of business. We have daily underwriting calls. There can be 100 people on that call, different disciplines in underwriting, lawyers, compliance, and everyone can challenge, everyone can add value to a deal, and that's really how we press home our advantage.
You mentioned investors there, and obviously relationships with investors is crucial. Fidelis is currently trading as a discount. What will it take to unlock value?
No, I think it's consistency of performance. The underlying portfolio, we've talked about specific issues such as Russia-Ukraine. And if you look at the last quarter, we would have been running in the mid-70s combined ratio. We've now dealt with Russia-Ukraine, that's behind us. So if we can demonstrate to investors in the coming quarters that they are the underlying results that we're very confident in, then I think we'll start to see some movement in that price. We think we're really undervalued. And we do have investors, that are continually buying that also think we're undervalued. But it's got to be consistency of performance. That's really what we're aiming for.
So Dan, one final question, if I may. What issues, thinking generally, what issues are being missed today that you think are going to be most important tomorrow?
Well, that's a wonderful question. If only I had a crystal ball, I'd got to make sure I get it right. Look, I think, it's easy to point to areas like casualty, reserve deficiency, I think we have to really think about evolving risk. The landscape is changing. AI, what that's going to bring to the world. Are we managing that? Are we innovating? Are we attracting, the right caliber of talent into the business? There's lots of other new exciting areas. I love insurance. I love risk. I love the transaction. It's a universe of people that are, very talented. How do we continue to bring those people in? But the evolving market, be it geopolitical, macroeconomic, specific issues like AI, they're the things that we really need to be working on and finding solutions so we can manage that risk for decades to come.
Dan, thank you very much indeed for joining us.
Thanks, Richard. It's a pleasure to be here.
For AMBest TV, I'm Richard Banks.